From a gentleman named Roland G. Fryer, a professor at Harvard University, one of the youngest ever in the economics department to get tenure. And he has a paper titled An Empirical Analysis of Racial Differences in Police Use of Force. In the abstract, he says, on the most extreme use of force, officer involved shootings, we find no racial differences in either the raw data or when contextual factors are taken into account. So just as we see a great disparity in gender when it comes to police shootings. Men are half the population, yet 90% of those shot by police. That is not evidence of discrimination when you take into account the fact that men are more violent on average than women. So it's actually something we'd expect. We also see a big age gap. Younger people under 35 are more likely to be shot than people older than 35. This also is not the result of discrimination when you take into account many other factors. Here is Roland Fryer summarizing his research.
A few years ago, you dropped the equivalent of a nuclear bomb with a study that you published.
I thought this was going to be the easiest paper I'd ever written in my entire career. I was so biased against the police myself, frankly. So I thought, this is clear. I'm going to get some data. I'm going to show the police are discriminating. So what we did is we collected millions and millions of data points across the country. So we did that, and what we found was that there are large racial differences in lower level uses of force, putting hands on people, throwing them up against a car, etc. Someone sent me a note and said, oh, this, lower level uses of force don't matter because, I thought it was about black lives. This is, who cares if they get pushed up against a car? And I wrote back, could you give me your address? I'll come push you up against the car. See how you feel about it. We collected data on 18 cities on actual shootings. In any way we cut the data, there were no racial differences in shootings. People lost their minds. It is these 12 videos or so, or 15 that we've seen that are horrific, don't get me wrong, are just not what the data tell you. What we found in the data is that when an investigation is announced, the police pull back and then crime goes up. So what we estimate is that for the three awful shootings and lives that we lost, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, and Laquan McDonald, where there were investigations, those investigations caused 1,000 additional lives lost.
It's really devastating when you realize that the state is given a monopoly on violence, and they're told that when a police officer tells you to do something, you must obey them, or they have the right to forcibly restrain you. And then if you resist, then they have the right to shoot you. People look at this. They also understand that you have to fund the police, or else the police will arrest you and put you in jail and shoot you if you resist then. And they look at that situation and say, I bet skin color has a lot to do with this issue right here. It's an economic issue. It's a moral issue. The race issue is a complete distraction. Thanks so much to people like Roland Fryer and Wilfred Riley for getting the truth out about this issue.